Ohayo gozaimasu, minasan. Genki desu. The King of Lightning is back from the land of the rising sun, and oh yeah, stories, goodies. I got a lot of trading cards. I got one card for Monkey D. Luffy that was woo! Man, it was a Chiro Oda sign for the One Piece card game. I had a fun time in Japan for damn sure. I was in that Shinjuku, Shibuya, you are my special area, and oh, it was a very special trip, okay? It is my favorite vacation in my lifetime. Oh man, I love it. Japan was so damn good. We're guaranteed going back again next year around May. Yeah, we're guaranteed going back again to Japan. Woo! My optimism is overflowing, and I'm gonna bring it for you guys and gals for the content at hand. And today's video is a continuation of the series of videos I've done when it comes to gauging the monster trio power levels relative to one another. It all started in December of last year. I have the series kind of started in January of this year, and I said, meh, forgot about it, but I'm back at it again. And this video is talking about Haki. That's right, the Haki levels between Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji relative to one another. This is observation, this is armament, and the Conqueror's Haki. The voice of all things maybe is a version of observation, and I'm not really clear on that one, honestly, so I'll ignore that for the time being. Things that are, let's say, unclear, if they're Haki or not, I will put aside because I'm just, again, they're unclear, I don't know. But what we know definitively is what I'm gauging here between these three. And as of this video, we're in the sort of final stretch for this series. So if you've been enjoying this series so far, I'm gonna have a link in the box below for all of the previous videos, all of the previous sections of this series, one. And then two is hit your boy with that thumbs up. Oh, please do. Hit your boy with that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel at hand, and click on that bell to join the notification squad because the content is coming and there's a lot to discuss because over the past 2 weeks, Oda has done a lot. And I myself have a lot of projects in mind that I want to really get to, like things I'm stoked for, I really am. So based on last year's combat ability chart between Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji in terms of Haki, are there any changes from then? The answer is yes.
Amazing!
All I'm gonna do really is that I'm going to raise Luffy's color of observation Haki to a 10, and that's it. That's Luffy, I've been saying it time and time again. Luffy, I think, is disgustingly powerful. There's a good chance in my mind that Luffy could beat his whole crew in a 1v8 fight. That's what I'd argue. It's up to you if you believe that he can do or can't do an Ip Man on his own crew. I think he could. And compared to Zoro and Sanji, he's gonna have just more 10s across the board. It is what it is. Since it's the only change I want to do, let's dive into this one first. The color of observation Haki. I have Luffy now at a 10. I have Zoro at a 6. And I have Sanji at an 8 for this category. It's simply put, because Luffy, we've seen him actually train with future sight. He actually achieved that. And during the Odon Prisoner Mines, we see Luffy direct Hyogoro by seeing the future somewhat and then being able to tell him what to do before it actually happens. On the rooftop, after he does the Red Rock against Kaido, he's able to dodge Kaido's Thunder Bagua by distinctly seeing the future and then dodging it, though he got grazed by Kaido, so Kaido's unbelievably quick. But the idea is that Luffy has shown the ability to use future sight, and there are things about Luffy's, honestly, to be fair, this Haki is the most inconsistent Haki of all the Hakis, by far, the observation Haki. In order for us to know that a character is using it, they have to actively tell us that they're actually using it, because there is no indication in the manga visually, aesthetically, that indicates that someone is able to see the future. So as far as I can tell, Luffy is never at a point in time where he's like Katakuri, where Katakuri is seeing the future on a regular basis. Like almost every instance, he's activating future sight, and he's seeing the future for an entire battle, even hours upon hours upon hours at a time, or even outside of battle, just having future sight on. But despite that, Luffy is still better than Zoro and Sanji in this category. Now, Sanji has an actual affinity for this Haki type, and we have seen Sanji sense time and time again. He was able to sense Julie Bonnie inside the warm eddy where no one else could, where he knew that it was a woman inside there. He was able to sense Bonnie's position when he was in the Vega tank, then he darted down there to go and save Bonnie. He deviated from Luffy and Jinbei because he sensed some Wano country perverted shenanigans going on. He even like heard it. He distinctly heard it as if it was NL. It was crazy. Even when Luffy goes Gear 5 for the first time, outside of Zunisha and the voice of all things, which again, not too sure if it is or is not observation, if it falls in that paradigm. Who was the first person to sense that? It's Sanji. Sanji is the first one to sense Luffy go into Gear 5. He gets up, huh? Luffy, is that you? Sanji has showcased more instances of being able to sense, let's say going all the way back to Punk Hazard, where in Punk Hazard, inside of Nami's body, he was trying to find the location of Kinemon's torso by, of course, via observation haki. He has more of these instances compared to someone like Zoro, who does have them, true, but nowhere near as frequent as Sanji. He dodged a jelly bean from a guy that could see the future, while not even paying attention to that dude in the first place. Katakuri had a counter to Sanji's counter of the priest trying to shoot him, and Sanji countered the countermeasure of the counter. Yeah! Fire! Sanji does have very damn good observation haki for damn sure, without a doubt. But he's not at Luffy's level where Luffy's able to just distinctly see the future. But Sanji can do things with observation haki that Luffy cannot do. That is a fact. On the flip side, Sanji's armament haki is not as robust as Luffy or Zoro's. Zoro has an affinity for armament haki particularly. Whether or not Astra is an armament haki or a conqueror's haki or a unique thing of some kind, we don't know. The fact of the matter is that we have seen Zoro use armor haki at a pretty high level, higher than Sanji's level, on a more regular basis. Sanji does have it for sure, and in the anime, they actually distinctly do show him using hardening, but in the manga, it's not really there for armament haki hardening for Sanji. But for Zoro, it's clearly there. And it was even a big deal when he actually showed that for the first time in Dressrosa, because Mihawk taught him that. Remember, Mihawk said in Dressrosa that Zoro's blades, his crappy blades, wouldn't have broken from Mihawk's attack if they were coated in armament haki. And being able to project your haki onto an object, as Hyogoro explains, is a version of Ryo. For those of you in the know, this is what I would call stage 3 armament haki. Now, is he using, let's say, the advanced Ryo that Luffy can do, which is able to bypass natural defenses and go straight for the internal organs to do internal damage? As far as we know, no. Luffy skipped a step in that process in order to bypass Kaido's scales and do way more mass internal damage. And once again, for those in the know, this is what I would call stage 4 armament haki. Remember, Ryo is just a Wano country term. Other folks can do the same thing, but they don't call it Ryo. So Luffy, in terms of armor haki strength and technique, he is superior than that of Zoro. But I will not say that Zoro, like with Sanji and the observation haki, I don't think he's lagging that far behind when it comes to armament haki. You can argue that Zoro, when he does an air cut, is able to imbue this air cut with armor haki. When he did the dragon twist onto Kaido, he was able to cut some of Kaido's scales. And so I'll just assume the armor haki is being applied to his air cuts from deep range. And then even still, you can argue, it's not stated, but you can argue that Zoro, let's say, learning the Firefox style could be an application, potentially, of armament haki. Remember, Zoro is someone that is taught in the Shimotsuki style of swordsmanship, which is a Wano country style of swordsmanship, which incorporates haki distinctly into their swordsmanship, let's say, compared to, let's say, Brook's swordsmanship, where haki is not really a factor from his home country. So when Zoro achieves the sort of breadth of all things, where he's able to cut through nothing, at the same time cut through all things, that is probably, at that point in time, an application of haki. Unbeknownst to him, obviously clearly, because he saw a few arcs later against NL, he cut NL in half, but did no damage to an L. Zero. Haki at that point in time for him was a mystery. But being able to cut through all things, because they also incorporate cutting through fire. So the theory I have is that he could be using Armored Haki in some way to cut through that fire. But of course, that's just a theory, a One Piece theory. So again, Zoro's Armored Haki is very, very good, which makes sense because again, he has an affinity for Armored Haki, but he's just not on Luffy's level when it comes to Armored Haki. And of course, the same thing applies for the Conqueror's Haki.
A conqueror.
Luffy is the one that has an affinity for Conqueror's Haki among the RGB, red, green, blue, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji trio. I actually thought about giving Zoro like a 4, honestly, or a 3 compared to Luffy, because Luffy's Conqueror's Haki game is kind of stupid. Whoo, man. The signs were very immediate, where in chapter 10:10, we see Zoro use the Dead Man's Game. And there's aura around Enma when he does the Dead Man's Game. And then Kaido notes to Conqueror's Haki being used at that point in time, again, unbeknownst to Zoro himself. So you can argue that when he did the Flying Dragon Blaze, and we see that aura around Enma, there's also Conqueror's Haki being used. The presence of Oden is being used at that particular point in time. Now, even though as of late, I think the data books say that Zoro doesn't have Conqueror's Haki. I say he does. Whatever. I don't care. Even in the anime, they added seeds of Zoro being able to like knock out dudes like passively. So he has, I would say, Conqueror's Haki. It is what is there. However, Conqueror's Haki that he has immediately falls so far short of Luffy's, because Luffy did what Zoro couldn't do. Even though the Dead Man's Game was very impressive on Kaido and he left a scar, remember, Zoro lamented that he couldn't bring Kaido down to his knees. Couldn't even do that. And I know a lot of folks say, well, he was gravely injured. And obviously he was gravely injured, but grave injuries in One Piece do not prevent from maximum power output. We've seen it with Whitebeard, we've seen it with Garp, and so on and so forth, where a character can be gravely wounded, but they can still dish out their strongest attacks of all time. The Ostra's Dead Man Game did utilize Conqueror's Haki, but Luffy with like basic ass punches. Blah. That was Kaido. I was like, what? No, Frieza, what? Damn. Luffy with Conqueror's Haki infused punches was able to pack up Kaido and send him on his back, let alone knees, on his back, like a dead spider. Ugh. Nah, Luffy was built different. Luffy was built different. And an even bigger sign for that, I would argue, was in the next chapter, 10:11, we see a distinct gap between Kaido and Luffy's clash of Conqueror's Haki infusion, and it's the exact same effect on Onigashima with the line, the striations, and the lighting that we see in chapter 966 when Whitebeard and Roger have their clash, and you see the lighting and you see the lines on the clouds. It's the exact same effects. Luffy and Kaido's Conqueror's Haki infusion clash did the exact same thing that Goldie, Roger, and Whitebeard's Conqueror's Haki clash did during the Oden flashback. And Luffy's Conqueror's Haki from then has only gone higher and higher and higher. Albeit on Egghead Island, it is very unclear at times when he is using Conqueror's Haki infusion or not, i.e., the Seraphim. Recall during Egghead Island, a lot of folks were pondering if Conqueror's Haki infusion could actually do substantial damage to the Seraphim, bypassing their genetic affinities and so on, but no. That was never really addressed because we never saw distinct Conqueror Haki infusion on any of Luffy's attacks. Was it there? Maybe. But despite that, Luffy was, in terms of Conqueror's Haki infusion, he was better than even Yamato, who had that ability for a longer time than Luffy did. Even though Luffy was sloppy compared to Yamato, Luffy had, I would argue, a stronger output of Conqueror's Haki infusion. And overall, Conqueror's Haki, I mean, my God, he knocked out all those dudes on Fishman Island, like 50,000 fishmen that at a baseline are 10 times stronger than human beings. So you could argue that'd be like an army of 500,000 people, regular human pirates. knocked him out. So obviously when it comes to Conqueror's Haki, he's better than any Monster Trio. Zoro, obviously. And then Sanji, because Sanji has none. He has zilch, he has 0 as far as you know. He is the only of the Monster Trio that has a 0 in the category, Conqueror's Haki. So, on that note, that is my take on the Monster Trio when it comes to the Haki game. Observation, Conquerors, Armament, Luffy's a 10-10-10, 10-10-10 whiz. The man is phenomenal. An actual wizard in the Haki game compared to the rest of the crew, which does make a lot of sense. Observation, Sanji is muy bueno, and Armament, Zoro is muy bueno, muy bueno. So let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. Once again, if you enjoy your boys' video content, make sure you give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna catch you guys and gals on the flip side.
See you. Bye-bye.